Hello everybody, my name is Cameron Earl, and welcome back with another Villainous video. Today we are ranking the Star Wars Villainous characters by difficulty. So Star Wars Villainous, I would probably say, is probably the hardest Villainous to pick up due to just the ambition mechanic. I would say overall Marvel Villainous has the most difficult characters to win with, but when it comes to learning, I think Star Wars Villainous definitely has the biggest learning curve with the whole ambition thing. So I got all three sets here with me today. I got, the two expansions, the Revenge at Last and the Scum and Villainy, and then of course the core set I also have here. Now Star Wars Villainous, I feel like I'm harsh about Star Wars pretty harsh about Star Wars Villainous. There's something in my box. That's just because I feel like a lot of the characters in Star Wars Villainous rely a little too much on the ambition mechanic. But that'll come when I rank them from my least favorite to favorite. This is just the difficulty ranking. Who I think are the easiest villains and who I think are the hardest villains. So we're starting off with who I think is the easiest Star Wars Villainous villain to win with in this video. And that is Cad Bane. So Cad Bane has special tokens called target tokens. I'm pretty sure they're just straight up called target tokens. Super creative name. But basically, Cad Bane has to defeat heroes with allies, and then when he defeats a hero with an ally, they're not discarded. However, they do get a target token placed on them, and then he has to play a card called Now It's My Turn for 2 ambition to defeat any hero with a target token. He then collects that target token, and when he gets 5 target tokens, he wins. So he has to do that 5 times. Except he really doesn't. You see, the easiness with Cad Bane, he has one of the best Star Wars villainous villain movers for sure. I fucking love this villain mover. Or freaking. But, the problem with Cad Bane is that there are so many cards in his deck that just allow him to pretty much skip half of what he has to do. Best way for him to find a hero is, cards like Watching and Planning, which let him look at the top 5 cards of his Fate deck, place any hero you found to a location without a hero, discard the rest. He has a lot of these cards. Cad Bane is in charge for 3 ambition. Now, I will say Cad Bane kind of has a little bit of a power struggle. He only has 1 gain 3 power action, and 2 of his locations actually don't have a play card action, and ambition's a lot harder to gain. And also, one of his locations, the box area, doesn't have a play card action or an ambition action at all. You simply go there to Fate and Vanquish. He also has, he can just skip the vanquishing part of the hero entirely. He has how many of those? How many of those does he have? Because I think he has a decent amount of them. 1, 2, 3. He has 3. Which, usually, that's all the copies of an effect card that a villain typically has in any villainous deck. It's just 3 of the same effect. So, he has an average amount of those cards. And, he needs 5 target tokens. He could do that to 3 heroes. So, he could just skip out on that. He has some cards to help him with, his little power struggle, which is gain 1 ambition, or his ambition struggle, which gain 1 ambition plus 1 ambition per the number of allies in play. Assuming that you will play that many allies, which sometimes you might not need to. Some of his better allies, definitely Count Dooku is pretty good. Heroes at Count Dooku's location cannot use their ability. That's specifically good for Obi-Wan. He has this card, which is a pricey 4 ambition, but it lets him remove a hero without a target token and gain a target token anyway. That card's called New Tricks, since my camera's angle is backwards. Probably the game-winning card in his deck is his little robot friend, Toto 360. So you could pay any amount of ambition to put that number of cards from your discard pile into your hand. So what do? You just take all these back in your hand. And yeah, the game pretty much plays itself for him. Often he can skip like half of what he has to do. A lot of time you don't even really need to vanquish a hero to get a target token on them. One of your many effect cards will just do it for you. I also don't think hang on. There was another card I wanted to talk about in here somewhere. His allies just have pretty generic ally abilities for a game like this. Or he has one of these copies like, well, hello there. Choose a hero in your fate deck, play the hero to any location in your sector, put a target token on it, reshuffle your fate deck. Pretty simple there. Just another way to skip out on the whole target token thing. So, yeah, I definitely think Cad Bane is the easiest to win with. His heroes aren't the worst. Let's see, what does Padme have? You may move another hero. When Padme Amidala is played, you may move another hero to her location until Padme Amidala is defeated. All other heroes in her location gain +2 strength. Now, that's, of course, a may. You may move, so you don't have to use that ability. Anakin Skywalker. When Anakin Skywalker is played, remove an ally from Cad Bane's sector. That could be pretty... Whoa. Cad Bane could honestly use that on himself. Also, my camera's like out of focus. Is it trying to focus on this? Cad Bane could kind of use that on himself, and that could be really unfortunate for him. So playing Anakin might be could be pretty bad for Cad Bane. When Mace Windu is played, shuffle Cad Bane's Fate deck and discard it into his Fate deck. That could just help him gain heroes that are easier for him back. Or Ahsoka Tano. When Ahsoka Tano is in play, all the ambition costs +1. Obi-Wan Kenobi. The reason why Count Dooku is good for Obi-Wan Kenobi is because Count Dooku will cancel out Obi-Wan Kenobi's ability if he is at Obi-Wan Kenobi's location. At the start of Cad Bane's turn, remove a target token from Kenobi. Then his last hero is Quinlan Voss. If anybody remembers this guy from the cartoon, he appeared in like 1 or 2 episodes. Quinlan Voss gains +1 strength if there are no other heroes at his location. Yeah, he's kind of a lone wolf Jedi. And I think in the lore he also gets with Asajj Ventress, and that's how Ventress eventually dies. Like, she takes a hit for him from Count Dooku, and because he turns to the dark side, and she ends up dying, or something. I don't know, it's been a hot minute since I've seen any lore like that. But yeah, Cad Bane I have as the easiest villain to win with. Alright, I'm gonna put these away. And surprisingly, the next villain I have on this list, surprisingly, might actually surprise some of you. It surprised me how easy a villain this could be. But actually, I think Darth Vader himself has a similar difficulty to Cad Bane. I actually think that these 3 easiest villains that I have in this video actually all have the same difficulty. I know definitely that I played a lot of games of Darth Vader versus the next villain, and they're my 2 favorite villains in this game to play. Darth Vader is actually like my second favorite villain to play. He's really fun. But I think him and the next villain I'm going to be talking about actually are neck and neck in difficulty. So, Darth Vader has the very simple objective of defeating Luke Skywalker. It's another generic villainous defeat hero goal, but he has an interesting way of doing it. So, he doesn't have to find Luke Skywalker or anything. Luke Skywalker is actually already pre-put on his board. Now, Luke Skywalker is a cardboard token that has... Why is it glaring? That's an interesting lighting effect. So, Luke Skywalker has 2 sides. He starts the game on his focus side, and on his focus side, heroes at his location cannot be defeated. And he also needs to be on his conflicted side, which is his other side, to be able to defeat him and win the game. Luke Skywalker is conflicted. When a hero is defeated at his location, you can move Luke 1 location towards the Emperor's throne room. Or when a hero is defeated anywhere, actually. So he'll actually start at the Death Star space, which is 2 spaces away from the end. So basically, you got to get him from here over to the throne room. Well, and you also have to flip him over at some point on his conflicted side, and you have to be there with Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. and you have to pay 6 ambition to defeat him. Emperor Palpatine has to be there. He is the one card in your deck you actually need to win, and it's a spicy 6 ambition. It's a very pricey 6 ambition to play, but Darth Vader has one of the easiest means of actually getting ambition with his vehicles and stuff. And also, note, the cardboard token of Luke Skywalker doesn't cover any actions. It's not like Rapunzel from the Disney Villainous, no. They don't cover any actions at all. Often the allies you're going to be playing most are definitely Imperial Stormtroopers, who gain +1 strength for every other Imperial Stormtrooper in play. And I think there's 5 of those, so each of them can get up to 1 strength. Or each of them can get up to 6 strength, which is, like, more than Kenobi. One of his conditions is really good, which is the power of the dark side. Actually, both of his conditions are pretty good. During their turn, if another player spends 2 or more ambition, you may play Power of the Dark Side, gain 2 ambition. A good way for him to get ambition. His other condition, you are not a Jedi yet. During their turn, if another player defeats a hero, you may play You Are Not a Jedi Yet. Flip Luke Skywalker to his conflicted side. One of the couple of ways that you can flip him over. Probably the main way you're going to flip him over is with father and son. If Darth Vader, it's a pricey 3 ambition, but of course Darth Vader has one of the easiest means of any of these villains to get ambition. If Darth Vader is at a non-vehicle location, move Luke Skywalker to Darth Vader's location, flip Luke Skywalker to his conflicted side. So you can actually just move Luke Skywalker from the Death Star to the Emperor's throne room if you have this towards the beginning of the game. And there's just a whole bunch of good cards. We don't need to go over any of the allies. Probably the most important allies is Stormtrooper. Join Us or Die is just a simple 1 ambition. Move Luke Skywalker 1 location towards the Emperor's throne room. I mean, of course, we can't end the Darth Vader segment without talking about Emperor Palpatine himself, who is a 0 ambition card. You don't even have to pay anything for the guy, and he has to be played to the throne room. And if Darth Vader is at the throne room, Luke Skywalker's at the throne room on his conflicted side, and Emperor Palpatine's in the throne room. You could pay 6 ambition with the ambition action to defeat Luke Skywalker and win the game. Ways of defeating heroes. Primarily his vehicle, the Executor, which you reveal cards from your fate deck until you reveal a hero. Play that hero to any location. His other vehicle. What am I doing? I'm messing up my words. His other vehicle is also good. The TIE Advanced X1. He gains 2 ambition. Simple when he moves there. Another really good way of getting ambition out of Darth Vader. Some of his fate cards can be pretty bad. Primarily 2 of them. And that is son and father can flip Luke Skywalker and move him 1 location away from the throne room. So, father and son flips him and moves him, and then father and son is, But the 2 cards that are really, really bad for him are Obi-Wan Kenobi and his restriction card. Which, hang on, I gotta pause this. Okay, so I'm back. So, last thing I started talking about was Darth Vader's 2 worst fate cards, which is definitely Obi-Wan Kenobi and his restriction, more powerful than you can imagine. And they both kind of do the same thing, it's just the restriction's a little worse. Well, they do the same thing to Darth Vader's goal if he has a certain card in his hand. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi is played, Darth Vader places his entire hand in the discard pile. Now, of course, if you have Emperor Palpatine in your hand, you have to go through your whole deck. And more powerful than you can imagine, Darth Vader cannot perform ambition actions. Darth Vader must discard his entire hand during a discard action to remove more powerful than you can imagine. If he has Emperor Palpatine, he has to get rid of it. So both of those cards do pretty much the same thing to Palpatine. So it's really, really, really unfortunate if that card gets played during that time. But yeah, that's Darth Vader. I actually think he's pretty easy. He's pretty quick. You can get Luke Skywalker flipped over and moved to the Emperor's throne room pretty quickly. It mostly just depends on how fast you can find Emperor Palpatine and get him out on the board, and just hope to God that your restriction doesn't get played on you while you have him in your hand still. So. The next villain I'm talking about is actually in this set, and that is General Grievous. General Grievous, so fun. I always seem to favorite the defeat hero goals for some reason. Madame Mask is one of my favorite Marvel villainous characters to play. Scar's like my second favorite Disney villainous character to play, and General Grievous is he's just so fun. I think General Grievous is probably the best of the three when it comes to defeating villainous hero goals because Madame Mask. The thing they came up with Madame Mask is like, yeah, that's pretty cool, but it's flawed. And Scar just had to you can bring these cards back out of his succession pile, bring the heroes back, so he has to defeat him again, and then he just wasted all those allies for nothing and stuff. I think General Grievous probably has the best. They made a defeat heroes villain strong. They actually made him powerful, pretty easy in this game. Now, of course, that being said, the remaining 7 villains that we have, if I had to compare their difficulty to Disney villainous characters, I'd say that the remaining 7 we have are all would be in the top half in difficulty compared to a lot of the Disney villains that we have, if that makes sense. So yeah, the Star Wars villainous characters, they all take a while. Star Wars Villainous is a long game. The Disney Villainous games, they don't take as long. Marvel Villainous games take really long. Star Wars Villainous games can also take a long time. So, yeah. General Grievous has to collect 8 lightsabers, and he does that by defeating heroes. Now, he has, I think, 6 heroes in his deck. Let's see, he has Anakin, Kit Fisto, Ahsoka Tano, Plo Koon, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Were those the bottom 6 cards? Bro. That's crazy. Or was it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he has 6 heroes in his deck. So the 2 most important heroes to the General Grievous player themselves would be Ahsoka Tano and Kit Fisto, as they will both award General Grievous 2 lightsabers each if he defeats them instead of just 1. Ahsoka Tano and Kit Fisto. When Kit Fisto is defeated, when Kit Fisto is played, you may move all heroes to any locations each time, and Ahsoka is each time another hero is played to General Grievous' sector, Ahsoka Tano gets +1 strength, so she'll just keep getting stronger if he doesn't defeat her quickly. And then the other heroes we have here are... Hang on. Oh, wow. That was a big one. The other heroes we have here are Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mace Windu, Anakin, and Plo Koon. Plo Koon, I think one of the most underrated characters in the Clone Wars cartoon. Even though he doesn't show up a ton, I think he's still really good in the episodes that he is in. Especially the final arc of... Was it Season 2? Season 2 was the Kid Boba arc, where they kidnapped the clones, and then they had to go on a rescue mission, and Aura Singh was, taking control of Kid Boba Fett. So Plo Koon. When Plo Koon is played, you may move all allies at his location to any other locations. Pretty simple. I think these 3 heroes are pretty unhurtful to General Grievous. I feel like those heroes aren't going to, get a lot. However, the 3 big Jedi here, Mace Windu, Anakin Skywalker, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, can do some serious damage. So Obi-Wan Kenobi is played. Remove an ally from General Grievous' sector. Now, General Grievous, just like all the other villains, has 2 vehicles. However, one of his vehicles is very, very good. So his normal vehicle, the soulless one, you just draw 2 cards. That's all it is. And honestly, I don't like it having that ability because it doesn't have a discard action. I'm someone who, if I play a card that lets me draw a massive amount of cards, I'm going to want to be somewhere where I can discard a lot. Because I would do that just to get cards out of my hand. But by far the better of the 2 vehicles by a landslide is definitely the Malevolence. And this is the vehicle that a lot of people will target with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Remove 2 allies to defeat a hero. Simple as that when you move there. A very easy way for General Grievous to get rid of a hero. Especially if he just has battle droids on his board that he doesn't care about sacrificing. Mace Windu. Mace Windu can kind of decommission your Magna Guards. Which, Magna Guards are your only ally that are strong enough by default to defeat these big 3 heroes, because they have 4 strength, just like Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and Anakin. However, when Mace Windu is played, all allies in General Grievous's entire sector, on his entire board, all the allies on his board get -1 strength when Mace Windu is played. So, it could definitely be scary getting Mace Windu out. But probably the worst hero for General Grievous is Anakin Skywalker. When he is played, defeat all allies in his location. So, basically, and it's not an optional ability. It says when Anakin Skywalker is played, defeat all allies at his location. It doesn't say you may defeat all allies at his location. So yeah, Anakin definitely hurts General Grievous. General Grievous is going to have to play allies after the fact, and not rely on getting all of his allies out and then just vanquishing all the heroes he brings out, because Anakin will put a stop to that pretty quick. Now, of course, obviously, his fate, the rest of his fate deck isn't that terrible. So, talking about probably his only bad card is, probably his only bad card in his deck. I mean, his restriction, he can't have more than 2 cards, but he only needs to pay 6 credits to remove that, and General Grievous doesn't have a power struggle at all, in my opinion. Retreat could be pretty bad. Choose up to 4 strength of allies in his sector, remove those allies. Retreat cannot affect Gore, which is one of General Grievous's allies we'll get to. But probably he only has 1 copy of Captured and is the only card in his entire Fate deck that removes a lightsaber. But there's only 1 of those. So there's only 1 card you can rely on throughout the whole game to actually set back General Grievous a little bit. Now, let's get to his 3 primary ways of getting heroes out. And I'm pretty sure these are the 3 only ways to get heroes out. Let's get to probably the one you'll end up using the least, which is Trained in the Jedi Arts. Basically, when a opponent fates you and you play Trained in the Jedi Arts, they have to choose a hero from your Fate discard pile. And then his other condition is Hunting Jedi, which is during their turn, if another player takes a play card action, you may play Hunting Jedi, reveal cards from your Fate deck. Until you reveal a hero, play that hero to any location in your sector. So yeah, that's a really easy condition to pull off, because villains are playing cards all the time. But then probably my favorite way to get heroes out is the 2 ambition cost Count Dooku's orders. Now, General Grievous doesn't rely much on ambition at all, but Count Dooku's orders is one of the, probably the best way to get heroes out. Reveal cards from your deck until you reveal an ally. Play that ally for free to any location, and you also do the same for a hero. So you can have a hero and possibly an ally of the same strength. We'll go over his allies. The Droidicas, when you're performing a Vanquish action, you can pay 1 ambition to move the Droidicas to the location of that action. Droidicas must be used in that Vanquish action. It also doesn't show an ambition, so I don't think it takes an ambition action to use them. BX Battle Droid Commandos can be put back in your hand after vanquishing. The cannon fodder, obviously the B1 battle droids just get +1 strength for each other ally at their location, so they could potentially be used in a vanquish action, but you're mostly just going to be using the B1 battle droids for the motivational tactics card, which is remove an ally from your sector, gain either 2 ambition or 2 credits. Also, his B2 super battle droids, when they would be discarded in a vanquish action, you may pay 1 ambition to keep them in play. I don't see why you would ever use these. These are probably his worst ally. At least the battle droids, the normal battle droids, gain strength. These guys don't. They're only 1 strength, and I don't see why you would ever pay 1 ambition to keep them. Escape plan's pretty good. Either play an ally or vehicle for free, or remove a hero vehicle. That's pretty good. But probably his best ally is probably the Magna Guards or Gore. The Magna Guards have 4 strength, and heroes cannot be moved from their location. And then where is Gore at? Here's Gore. He appeared in literally 1 episode of the show and then died almost 30 seconds later. When Gore is played, gain 1 ambition. When he's used in a vanquish action, gain 1 ambition. So you'll get 2 ambition out of this guy if you use him right. Then the last card I want to talk about here is the 4 ambition cost add to my collection, which is simply just gain 1 lightsaber. So that's kind of his smoking gun card that he could just use to win the game without having to defeat a hero. You know, he doesn't have any way to get through his deck fast. He doesn't have any way to get anything out of his discard pile. He just has fun conditions to help him get heroes out on the board. And, you know, only having one... You can definitely feel that having only one Fate card to set him back with in his entire deck, because, honestly, he's not hard to win with whatsoever. He can win pretty quick. Alright, so the next villain I'm talking about here is actually the villain that I had the toughest time placing in this list, because he's just like another villain that I also always have a tough time placing. So, sticking with the core set, I forgot to put Darth Vader's cards back. It's fine. The fourth easiest villain I have is Kylo Ren. So Kylo Ren has a goal to get all of his Fate token. Is that what they call it? No, what did they call them? Commit to the dark side of the Force. Destiny tokens is what they're called. So all of his Destiny tokens start right in the middle, and you got to get them, all 6 of them, to the dark side here, but your Fate cards will move them to the light side. Now, I personally dislike playing Kylo Ren a bunch. He is the Gaston of Star Wars Villainous. Because while Gaston is always struggling to get obstacles off plane or doing the exact same thing every turn to get obstacles off his board, and then the Fate deck just brings them back, Kylo Ren's the same. He's just playing the same exact cards over and over again the entire game, trying to get all his tokens down into his dark side, but then a bunch of his Fate cards just move them back. I would say that Kylo Ren has it easier than Gaston, probably, but Kylo Ren also has to go through more steps. Kylo Ren, I think, of course, my main problem with Star Wars Villainous as a whole is villains relying too heavily on the ambition. And I think the worst example of that out of all 3 of these sets is by far Kylo Ren. I think Kylo Ren has the worst reliance on ambition. How many cards can be played with just credits that you're actually going to use? That is the question. That you are going to use. Because every single card that moves a Destiny token, pretty much, is played with ambition. Most of the cards that... Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14... 18, 19, 20. A whole 2/3 of his deck are ambition cards or conditions. Now, that only leaves 10 cards in his deck total that you could pay with credits. Now, note, the main way you can gain ambition, and pretty much the only way for a lot of villains to gain ambition, is by gaining 1 ambition at the beginning of your turn. Now, of course, he does have ways to help gain ambition, but literally, like, 1-cost Stormtroopers. What's this? Long live the Supreme Leader. Choose a card type. Reveal cards. Yeah. His allies, Knights of Ren. Some item you'll never use. Can't even tell you what that card does off the top of my head. He has 2 of those. Both of his vehicles, which aren't even that great. There is also like an underlying thing where if he defeats a hero, he moves 1 Destiny token towards the light side, but you probably won't be using that much. And then like First Order Storm... I say that these could be good because the location they're at gains a maneuver action, which he can't maneuver a lot of stuff. I don't know if he has a maneuver action on his board anywhere, actually. Yeah, so... And then the rest of Kylo Ren's deck is either just conditions. Now, he has... His conditions, I will give him that. His conditions are pretty good. He has... I can take what I want during their turn. If another player gains 1 or more credits, you may play taking what I want, gain that many ambition. And then he has Crushing Hope, which they only reveal 1 Fate card if you're trying to Fate him. Those are his 2 conditions. The rest of his cards are all played with ambition. Sith Legacy. Move a Destiny token towards the dark side. What's this? You have, like, shuffle your discard pile into your villain deck, draw 5 cards. Draw 3 cards from your villain deck. Look at the top 4 cards of the Fate deck and return to the rest to the top of the Fate deck in any order. Gain ambition equal to a number of Destiny tokens in the dark side. A good end game card, I guess. Power and Fear. 3 ambition. Move 2 Destiny tokens towards the light side. I'm not even going to go over these. They all do the same thing. However, probably the best card actually in Kylo Ren's deck is Snoke, Supreme Leader. Is that what he's called? Oh, Supreme Leader Snoke. So 3 ambition, and then you place 1 ambition. You pay 1 ambition to place 1 destiny token in the dark side. So not move it towards, place it in. So you can take a destiny token straight from the light side and place it right in the dark side. Now, here. This is Kylo Ren gameplay. Alright. Okay, I just gained an ambition. I'm going to go here. I'm going to spend 3 ambition to place Snoke. Oh, that's the only ambition action I got. Next turn, I gain 1 ambition at the start of my turn. I go here. I pay 1 to move it towards the dark side. I go here. I pay 1 to move it towards the dark side. It's the same. It's just going back and forth, playing the exact same cards if you even have enough ambition to do that. Or it's literally just going back and forth on your turn, using Supreme Leader Snoke over and over again, and letting that be the only thing you do on your turn. Because Kylo Ren is so heavily reliant on ambition, and he is so uninteresting, kind of like his character, honestly. None of his, he has Come Home, which moves a Destiny token towards the light side. Poe Dameron does nothing. Princess Leia makes him lose all of his ambition, which is pretty cool. Han Solo does nothing, considering that he's his father. He just places a Destiny token in the neutral side. That's all it does. Rey's pretty bad. When Rey is played, move all Destiny tokens towards the light side. That could definitely hurt him. Luke Skywalker, you move all the allies in your domain to his location. His restriction can be pretty bad. Find and play Rey. Kylo Ren cannot move Destiny tokens towards the dark side until Rey is defeated. Pay 4 ambition to remove Hardened Strength. So he can either pay ambition to remove the restriction or defeat Rey, and then that restriction just stays there. But of course, Rey can be brought back with fake cards, and I don't think there's anything else that's even notable. There's every word you said was wrong. Place 1 Destiny token on the light side and move 1 Destiny token towards the light side. So yeah, it's literally, he's just the Gaston of Star Wars villain. It's just a constant struggle, moving him back and forth, constantly. Yeah, Kylo Ren isn't great. I'm not gonna rant any longer about him. Not a fun villain to play. The reason why he's so hard to place is because it's like, it all depends on how much your opponent actually fates you. Like, if you fate him a lot, Kylo Ren can possibly be a little more difficult, but at the same time, Kylo Ren also has condition cards to stop that he can also get back with a certain card. So we're sticking with the core set still for this next villain that I'm talking about, and that is Giancarlo Esposito is the next villain I'm talking about, aka Moff Gideon. Of course, I still have the poor bent villain mover. Pretty unfortunate. But, yeah, so Moff Gideon. So, Moff Gideon has, in my opinion, one of the messier goals. There's a whole bunch he has to do. So, I don't play him a lot. I can't tell you off the top of my head, every single card he has to play. I know playing the Client and the Beskar is really good. You're definitely going to want to play a Dark Trooper or 2. You need the laboratory samples and Dark Pershing to win. They're only captured as well. It's pretty good. So these are pretty much the cards you need to play to win in one turn, basically. Well, not one turn, but basically do everything, find Grogu, and do experiments on him in one turn. So my strategy for Moff Gideon is to literally just gain the ambition. So I like to place the laboratory samples at Dr. Pershing here, so this location gains an ambition action. I also like to play the Client here, because the Client and the laboratory samples both give the location they're at ambition actions. So, the Client, you can pay 2 ambition to reveal cards from your deck until you reveal Beskar. Play it for free. Obviously, Beskar is played to an ally. You can either remove Beskar to find any card to play any card from your hand for free, or you can remove Beskar to find and play Grogu to the hero side of your sector. And then Dark Troopers have 5 strength. They're definitely your strongest ally. If Grogu and no other heroes are at his location, move Grogu to the villain side of your sector. Captured, I play with Beskar. Find and play Grogu to any location on the villain side of your sector. And then laboratory samples. is the card you need to win. If Moff Gideon, Grogu, and Dr. Pershing are in this location on the villain side of your sector, you win the game. And then Dr. Pershing, if Moff Gideon is at Dr. Pershing's location, the cost to play Dark Troopers is reduced by 1. So, yeah, it's all just a giant wombo combo to get Grogu on the board and also do experiments on him. None of his other cards are really worth talking about. He just has some generic vehicles and some allies. Like this vehicle is pretty good. Imperial Light Cruiser, either draw up to 5 cards at the end of your turn or gain 1 ambition immediately. Other than that, there's not really anything to talk about with his deck. It's just those 5 or 6 cards that you need to get a good quick win with him. Also, his Fate deck also really isn't anything special. I mean, obviously, Grogu, where I remember Grogu has a mountain of text on his card. Yeah. Grogu has a lot of text on his card. So, when Grogu is revealed in a Fate action, you must play him immediately to a location with another hero. If no other hero is in play, discard both Grogu and the other Fate card drawn. Grogu cannot be defeated, removed, or targeted with a Vanquish action. Now, of course, he can be protected by heroes, like the Mandalorian. Pedro Pascal himself. Where is he? Oh, he was the top card. He has +2 strength. The Grogu is at his location. That's pretty much the only... That's it. That's all I can say for Moff Gideon. I have him right in the middle of all these villains because literally he is just kind of the mid difficulty. He's not too difficult. It takes a while to win with him. But if you get all the cards and know how to gain ambition with him pretty fast, then everything should be pretty smooth. Smooth sailing from there. Alright. We've only talked about 5 of the 10 villains so far, and we only have 1 villain left in the core box. But actually, I am not talking about them next. They are saved for later. We are actually moving on, finally, to Revenge at Last for the next villain. And of these 2 villains, which one do I think is easier to win with? Based on just my experiences alone, which villain I think is easier to win with? It is Darth Maul. I think Darth Maul is easier to win with than Captain Phasma. Because I have played multiple 2-player games, 4-player games, 3-player games that both had Darth Maul and Captain Phasma in them, and Darth Maul always seems to win. However, I have played games of Darth Maul against the previous 5 villains, and those villains seem to win. So, Darth Maul, out of these, probably has, the most different roads you can go down to his objective. My main problem with Darth Maul is that there is, so many different... It's, an overwhelming amount of different things you can do with him. So, pretty much my experience with most of my Darth Maul games is I'm going to be drawing and discarding cards every turn. Pretty much, because most of his cards rely on you having a hero on your board. So the first thing you're going to want to draw is the Sith Holocron. You can activate it. He is the first villain since the first Star Wars Villainous set came out. The reference card that tells you what all the actions are named had the activate action on it, but it took them 3 sets to actually give a villain an activate action, and they gave that to Darth Maul. So you have to find an activate action, which his ship, the Night Brother, and doesn't he have another ship? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Night Brother is the only his ship, which lets him gain 3 ambition when he moves there, is the only activate action he has. But he also has one last lesson that says perform an activate or maneuver action. The Sith Holocron, when you activate it, you just find and play a hero. You give them -2 strength when you play them. And then after you finally get a hero on your board, you are free to start playing the rest of your deck out. Of course, you can play all your allies like the Mandalorian Commandos. When they're used in a Vanquish action, they return your hand. You also got Tour Guide Droids. Maneuver a hero to a location with the Tour Guide Droid. That hero gets -1 strength. Savage Opress is cool. When used in a Vanquish action, reduce that hero's strength by 2 instead of 1. Whenever you vanquish a hero, you reduce their strength by 1. You don't discard them, you reduce their strength by 1, I'm pretty sure it is. What are his other cards? There's just so many cards. Like Old Master, choose an ally or hero, get them +1 strength. Now I'm pretty sure allies are considered heroes and vice versa for effect purposes. Join me or die. Gain a vanquish action. You may use an ally with less strength than the targeted hero's current strength to perform a vanquish action. But I didn't even say what his goal is. His goal is to defeat a hero with another hero. So basically, you're trying to whittle down a hero to 0 strength and then use them to defeat another hero. Ideally, if you want to go the thematic way, or what he was trying to do, because this actually takes heavy inspiration from mostly the Star Wars Rebels cartoon, a lot of this. The thematic way, if you want to try to win the most thematic way possible, is to get Ezra Bridger to 0 strength and build him up to defeat Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, together you and I maneuver a hero to Darth Maul's location, and that hero is on Maul's side of the sector. They gain +2 strength. Yeah, so I mean, pretty cool art on the card. But yeah, a lot of his cards simply have to do with moving strength. So the thing with Darth Maul is that you're going to be drawing cards and just immediately discarding them until you find the Sith Holocron, and then you're free to just go ham, play all the cards you want. He also has a dope villain mover, for sure, one of the best ones. I also really like Darth Vader's and Cad Bane's mover. And Boba Fett's mover is also cool. I think these are my 4 favorite villain movers in Star Wars Villainous. The ones I don't like too much, General Grievous's and Asajj Ventress's are really weird. The Seventh Sister isn't that great. Oh no, I just messed up my order. No, I had them all sitting in order over here. No, oh my god. Oh, I should remember the order. But yeah. What was the order I had them in? Hang on. I was an idiot. I shouldn't have done that. Hey, I remembered. Woo! But yeah, let's go over Darth Maul's heroes. So there's Obi-Wan Kenobi. When he's played, give all other heroes and play +1 strength. Obi-Wan Kenobi's ignores strength reductions less than 2. When Maul moves, so you have to get rid of his, get him, when you remove strength from him, it has to be 2 or more strength at a time, or else he ignores it. When Maul moves to Obi-Wan Kenobi's location, he must discard half his hand at random, rounded down. Ahsoka Tano. Oh, well, here's the art for Obi-Wan Kenobi. At a whopping 7 strength. Here's Ahsoka Tano. 6 strength hero. When Ahsoka Tano is played, give all other heroes and play +1 strength. When Maul is at Ahsoka Tano's location, all cards cost +1 ambition or credits. Here's Kanan Jarrus. When Kanan Jarrus is played, give all other heroes and play +1 strength and reveal fate cards until you reveal a vehicle. Play that vehicle. And then there's also the hero that you're probably going to whittle down in strength is Ezra Bridger at a 5 strength, the lowest in the deck. When Ezra Bridger is played, give all other heroes and play +1 strength and find and play the Jedi Holocron. The Jedi Holocron is not attached to a hero, and it covers actions. When a hero is maneuvered from the Jedi Holocron's location, they gain +2 strength. If Darth Maul is at the Jedi Holocron's location, he may pay ambition equal to the number of heroes in play to remove the Jedi Holocron item. And then all of his other cards are just like, you had your chance, move heroes to other locations. He has a few of those. You've been replaced. Darth Maul loses 2 ambition or 2 credits, whichever he has more of. He has a couple of those. His restriction is Mandalorian Sarcophagus. While Mandalorian Sarcophagus is in play, Maul can only take 2 actions per location or vehicle. Remove Mandalorian Sarcophagus by removing allies totaling 4 strength or higher. I am lost. Remove an ally or vehicle from Darth Maul's side of the sector, which I'm pretty sure you can use that on a hero. Choose a hero. You may remove up to 2 negative strength from that hero, which is Brother Lost. So it literally just takes away what Savage's Oppress's ability is. You know, which makes sense. But yeah, Darth Maul, he can get off to a really slow start if you cannot find that Jedi Holocron in time. But he can also get off to a really quick start. But, we're actually sticking with this box because I think that the second and the only other villain in the box is just a little bit more difficult than Darth Maul. And that is Captain Phasma. Captain Phasma, you know, for being such a lame villain in the movies, you know, somebody who you think would be cool, but that she only has like 2 minutes of screen time, I think she's actually really fun to play in this game. So she's trying to promote 4 stormtroopers to First Order Stormtrooper officers, and she has to have each one of those 4 in different locations. So you have your normal stormtroopers. Here, let me get all our stormtroopers out. Or at least one of each. Well, no, I'll take them all out. I'll take all of her allies out. We'll go over each of her allies. Is that all of them? No, I missed a couple. Alright. So a big chunk of her deck is obviously made up of allies, but that's because she needs a lot of them. How many allies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A whole third of her deck is allies. So let's get into her non-Stormtrooper allies first, which would be... first, General Hux, which is probably her best non-Stormtrooper ally, is General Hux. When General Hux is played, find and play for free the Atmospheric Assault Lander and gain 3 ambition. So she gains a heavy 3 ambition out of simply just playing this guy. The location he is at also gains some maneuver action, which is always okay, I guess. And you also play the Atmospheric Assault Lander for free, which she is one of the few villains that actually only have 1 vehicle. She only has 1 vehicle in her deck, actually. And that is the Atmospheric Assault Lander. When she moves there, she simply gains 2 ambition. So it's a good way. So he's just really good at giving her ambition. Her other 2 non-Stormtrooper allies are the First Order Flame Trooper and the First Order Executioner Trooper. So the Flame Trooper, when performing a Vanquish action, First Order Flame Troopers may use... When performing a Vanquish action, First Order Flame Troopers may be used to defeat a hero at their location or at an adjacent location. Pretty simple. They only have 2 strength. And then the more expensive, higher in strength, the First Order Executioner Trooper. When played, maneuver a hero to First Order and play... Bro, I cannot talk today. When played, maneuver a hero in play to First Order Executioner Trooper's location. When used in a Vanquish action, gain ambition equal to the strength of the hero. So what is the ideal hero you're going to want to use the Executioner Trooper against? Who's the highest strength? I don't think she has many heroes in her Fate deck. Okay, you're going to want to use them against Chewbacca. Chewbacca has the highest strength by far. But all heroes in play gain +1 strength if Captain Phasma is at Chewie's location. Those are her non-Stormtrooper allies. Now let's get to all of her Stormtroopers. So... most of her Stormtroopers are just the generic First Order Stormtroopers, but when they were played, they actually give her 1 ambition, and she has 4 of those. So, you know, she needs to promote 4 Stormtroopers up to the First Order Officer, you know, the red rank, and have 1 at each location, so 4 is a good number. But she also has 3 Stormtroopers that each start off with their respective cauldron color. So it goes no pauldron, white pauldron, black pauldron, red pauldron. So she has for 2 cost, 2 strength, the First Order Stormtrooper Squad Leader. Pay 1 ambition to keep First Order Stormtrooper Squad Leader in play after being used in a Vanquish action. And he automatically starts with the white pauldron when he's being played. None of these normal Stormtroopers she has, none of them start off with a pauldron. She has the First Order Stormtrooper Sergeant, which is 2 cost, 2 strength, and you pay 2 ambition to keep them in play after being used in vanquish action. So you pay 1 for him, 2 for him. And the First Order Stormtrooper officer, who starts with the red pauldron, the red pauldron, and the sergeant starts with the black pauldron. You pay 3 ambition to keep them in play after a vanquish action. So try to get these 3 out definitely, but regardless, you're going to need to promote at least one of these through all of the ranks. And I think kind of the best way that she can do that is with her 2 main effect cards here, which is, oh wait, no, she has actually, hang on, she has 3 cards. So 2 of these cards act together, but this one acts alone. Forged in battle for 2 ambition, remove an ally to give a Stormtrooper pauldron of the next rank. And then these 2 cards work together. It's so good to have you back and following orders. So good to have you back. Reveal fate cards until you find a hero. Place that hero at Captain Phasma's location. And then following orders, perform a vanquish action that includes a Stormtrooper. Award a pauldron token of the next rank to 1 Stormtrooper used in that vanquish action. Do not discard that Stormtrooper. So good to have you back. We'll get the hero out. This will let you kill him to promote a Stormtrooper. Those are her only notable cards worth talking about. But I think promoting them and just, slowly building up your Stormtrooper army is really fun. I think she's really fun to play for being such a not fun villain in the movies. Like, I wish, they promoted her a lot, and she was all over a lot of the Force Awakens promotional material, but she had like no screen time whatsoever, and then she just died after even less screen time in the second movie, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched the prequels. Or the sequels, I mean. It's been a minute since I've watched the sequels, because I don't actually think any of the sequel movies are particularly good, but that's just me. I don't think the villains are good either. I don't. Also, her villain mover is pretty cool. I like that we finally have a clear silver miniature, or a villain mover, instead of a solid silver one, like Ultron or something. Alright. We are down to our final 3 villains. And we are going back to the core set to talk about our last villain. And by process of elimination, I just realized I didn't talk about any Captain Phasma's fake cards. It's okay, they don't really do anything. There's like 1 or 2 cards in our deck that remove the thing. Okay, Asajj Ventress. It has actually been a really long time since I played Asajj Ventress. But Asajj Ventress has to complete 3 missions. Now, she has a deck of 5 missions that she keeps on the side, and I'm pretty sure she could pay ambition equal to the number of missions to draw a new one. I don't think she can stack missions, but I don't know. She's probably my least played Star Wars Villainous character. Entirely. Like, my least played by far, probably. So she has to complete 3 missions. Oh my god, I'm going to have to go over each one of these, ain't I? So let's just start with her missions. So first one I have here is Clone DNA. When you draw this mission, you can spend 0 ambition to find Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, place them in different locations in your sector. You have to defeat Anakin, defeat Obi-Wan, and have a villain vehicle in play. You gain 3 ambition tokens when you complete this mission. You have this mission, it's called Clone DNA, when she was trying to steal the clone DNA. You have this one, Stinky, which goes over the Clone Wars movie, which I think people give too much hate. So you can spend 0 ambition to find Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano and place them in different locations. You have to defeat Anakin, defeat Ahsoka, and have Count Dooku in play. Gain 3 ambition. I'm pretty sure each... no. Now, your biggest mission, which has 4 different tasks, is The Witches. Look at for 0 ambition, look at the top 5 cards of your villain deck. Place them back on top in any order. Progress. Have Mother Talzin in play. Have at least 1 Night Sisters in play. Have Savage Opress in play. And play the home card. Gain 4 ambition. The Rescue, your smallest mission, only has 2 requirements. Find Ahsoka Tano and 1 Clone Trooper and place them in different locations. Defeat Ahsoka, defeat the Clone Troopers. Gain 2 ambition. And her final mission is the first episode of the Clone Wars cartoon, which is Ambush. Find Master Yoda and 2 Clone Troopers and place them in different locations. Defeat Yoda, defeat both the Clone Troopers, gain 3 ambition. So yeah, it's literally just all, except for the Witch's mission, it's pretty much all just defeating heroes. Now, of course, let's go over the most notable heroes there. So Clone Troopers was in there once or twice. When Clone Troopers are played to a location with another hero, Clone Troopers get +1 strength. Simple as that. So we have blah, 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 blah. Her restriction, she cannot perform Vanquish actions. Remove 2 allies from your sector to remove that restriction. Ahsoka Tano, when Ahsoka Tano is played, Asajj Ventress loses up to 2 credits or 2 ambition. Yoda, when Master Yoda is played, look at the top 4 cards of Asajj Ventress' deck, discard 1 and return the rest to the top of the deck in any order. Anakin Skywalker, allies at Anakin Skywalker's location get -1 strength, so he's kind of one of those annoying characters to take out. Obi-Wan Kenobi, all of Asajj Ventress' ambition actions and abilities are increased by 1 ambition cost. That's pretty much all the notable heroes. I think we've actually went over every hero. Some good cards in her deck are, what's this? Dark Apprentice. Select an ally or vehicle that is not at Asajj Ventress' location. You may perform 1 available action at that location. You cannot use Dark Apprentice to perform fate actions. Assassin's Trail. Defeat all Clone Troopers in your sector. Gain 1 credit for each Clone Trooper defeated using Assassin's Trail. That could be good for 2 of the missions. We have Infiltration. Move Asajj Ventress to any location with a fate card and end your turn. Before Asajj Ventress moves on your next turn, defeat all fate cards at her location. Then take your turn as normal at Asajj Ventress' current location. So that can wipe out 1 of the missions entirely, just by itself. The ally you're going to see the most is the Night Sisters. When they are played, gain 1 ambition and get 1 ambition for every other ally at their location. You also have Count Dooku in your deck. When Count Dooku would be discarded in a Vanquish action, you may put him in your hand instead. For 2 ambition, you can use him to look at the top 2 cards of your mission deck, return them to the top in any order, so kind of manipulate what your missions are going to be. Home, play 1 Night Sisters from your discard pile to Dathomir for free. Savage Opress, when Savage Opress would be discarded from your sector, you may discard another ally from his location instead. Mother Talzin, select any number of Night Sisters in your sector, pay that many ambition. Each Night Sister selected gets +1 strength. So, not much of Mother Talzin. Cool character, though. I did enjoy Mother Talzin in the cartoons. Yeah, not many cards to go over. It's mostly just, defeating a bunch of heroes to get her missions. Now, you think I would find that fun, but I mostly just find... Because I don't think that you can stack mission progress with mission progress. I think her board... There's just sometimes you're kind of just left like, what do I do? You're just kind of left with the question of, what do I do? Okay, so we are done with the Revenge at Last box, and we are done with the core box. So that only leaves the last 2 villains are left in the Scum and Villainy box. I'm actually going to put all their numbers away. Okay, so it's between 2 villains. Which one is the most difficult and which one is the second most difficult? And the villain I have as the second most difficult Star Wars Villainous villain is the Seventh Sister. I'm sure a lot of people have Seventh Sister as the number 1, and I also have a feeling that a lot of people have the Seventh Sister as probably the worst Star Wars Villainous character to play, but she's actually one of my favorites. I actually find her really fun to play. I don't know why. I think it's because it's like to kind of... I know she has the problem I mentioned before, where she has... where she's heavily reliant on ambition, which I said was one of my problems. She is extraordinarily heavily reliant on ambition. But not like having to play every single one of her cards with ambition like Kylo Ren. So her goal is to remove 3 rebels from the game. However, those 3 rebels have to be... She has the full rebel crew in her Fate deck. However, there's only 3 rebels that you can actually remove from the game back to the game box, which are your 3 Jedi: Ezra Bridger, Kanan Jarrus, and Ahsoka Tano. Each one with their own ambition cost. So basically, when you defeat them in a Vanquish action, you have to pay a certain amount, a very, very hefty amount of ambition to remove them. Ezra Bridger is the weakest one. At 3 strength, when he is in play, the cost to play cards that cost ambition is increased by 1. Pay 5 ambition after defeating Ezra Bridger to remove him from the game. We have Kanan Jarrus, who has 4 strength. All allies at Kanan Jarrus' location lose 1 strength. Pay 6 ambition after defeating Kanan Jarrus to remove him from the game. And then we have the 5 strength Ahsoka Tano. At the 7th Sisters in Ahsoka Tano's location, she cannot take any actions. Pay 8 ambition after defeating. 8 ambition. That is the highest ambition cost for anything. For any of these characters. Highest one. And then her other heroes are just generic rebels. Not going to go over their abilities. Chopper, Hera, Sabine, and Zeb. And then her other fake cards don't really do much of anything. Of course, she has a whole bunch of cards to mess with people here. Probably my favorite one is definitely Inquisitors. Collect all allies in your discard pile, place 1 from your hand, and shuffle the rest into your villain deck. Best way for her to get her biggest help, which is... I'm going to find them all. Oh, I don't need to find them all. But it's the ID9 Seeker Droids, which will help her find heroes. But she only got 3 of them. She got 7 heroes in her deck, but she only has 3 of these, and they're her only way of finding heroes. Acrobatic Attack, take a Vanquish action, reduce the ambition cost by 3 to remove that character from the game. Really good card. You know, you have to pay 3 less ambition, which is always fun. Also, another way to lower the ambition is it's never a fair fight. Take an ambition token from the supply and place it on a hero. That hero can be removed from the game, or place it on a hero that can be removed from the game. This token counts towards that hero's cost to be removed from the game. You know, just little ways to whittle the ambition cost down. So her basic allies, the Stormtroopers, they can be played from her discard pile directly. Admiral Cassius Constantine. Remove 1 of your villain cards in play and gain ambition equal to his cost. Cannot be used on Darth Vader. Yes, Darth Vader is one of her best allies in the deck, for sure. She has Agent Callus. All other allies at Agent Callus's location gain +2 strength. That could be really good for taking out Kanan. She has the 5th Brother. 1 ambition, you may maneuver any hero in your sector to a new location. Place a -1 strength token on that hero. His ability isn't the best, but he is a very strong 4-strength hero. The 8th Brother, who's weaker, with a better ability, I think. When the 8th Brother is used in a Vanquish action, after he is placed in the discard pile, you may draw 2 cards to your hand. But her best ally, besides the Seeker Droids that obviously find the heroes for her, is definitely Darth Vader. Such good art on that card, too. He's a whopping 6 power, but she also doesn't really have a power struggle because you're not going to be playing many cards until you got like those heroes out on your board. For 0 ambition, you can gain ambition equal to the strength of the highest strength hero in your sector. Give Darth Vader a -1 strength token. So you can use that ability 6 times, and that is he is one of the best cards in your deck. That is one of your best ways to guarantee that you gain enough ambition to capture all those heroes, or to remove all those heroes. Yeah, Darth Vader is a really good card. But yeah, I think she's fun. I think trying to save out that ambition and all the different ways you can do it, and also all the effect cards you play, it just feels evil, you know? It feels fun. But I pretty much never had a question of this myself. who I pretty much never had questioned myself on which villain was the most difficult, it's definitely Boba Fett. So Boba Fett has an extremely similar goal to Asajj Ventress, just amped up to 20. So he has to complete 4 bounties. I think he has 5 in his deck. However, he doesn't have a separate deck of bounties like Asajj has a separate deck of missions. No, he has to play his contacts to attach bounties to. So let me find all those contacts right here. So his contacts are Bib Fortuna, Darth Vader, and Jabba the Hutt. Now Bib Fortuna, he can hold 1 bounty. You can attach 1 bounty to Bib Fortuna at a time. Bib Fortuna awards Boba Fett 2 credits, 1 ambition, and 2 cards when complete. Darth Vader can hold 2 bounties and gives Boba Fett 5 ambition. And Jabba the Hutt can hold 2 bounties as well, but gives you 5 credits. Each of his bounties, let's go. He also has a thing where you can place bounty hunters to the top of your sector and get rid of them too, because he doesn't have allies. He has bounty hunters that he can use for his goal by killing them. Okay, so Boba Fett has 5 bounties. He has to complete 4 of them. War of the Bounty Hunters. You can pay 2 ambition to find Chewbacca and place him at Boba Fett's location. Progress. Have Jabba the Hutt in play. Defeat a bounty hunter. Defeat Chewbacca. Your reward is C contact. Move to that contact's location. Gain the reward money. Discard the bounty, or place it somewhere to keep track of how many values you completed. The Corellian job. Pay 1 ambition. Find any bounty hunter and put it in your hand. Have Bosk in play at Corellia, which is your first location here. Defeat a bounty hunter. Pay 6 credits at once. Search for rebels. 3 ambition to find and place Luke Skywalker and R2-D2. Have Darth Vader in play. Defeat R2-D2. Defeat Luke Skywalker. Revenge. Pay 1 ambition to find and place a bounty hunter for no cost to the hero side of the sector, and you just have to defeat 3 bounty hunters. And I Need Him Alive, the most iconic mission he has. Pay 2 ambition to find Han Solo and place him at the Cloud City Dining Hall, which is your 3rd location on your board. Have Han Solo and play at Cloud City Dining Hall. Defeat Han Solo, but do not discard him. Maneuver him to Jabba's palace. Defeat Han Solo at Jabba's palace. And then obviously all of his bounty hunters just have typical ally stuff that relates to moving to the hero side of the sector sometimes. But not only does he doesn't already have a bounty pre-played again in the game like Asajj Ventress does. He has to play contacts and play them himself, and he is constantly having to defeat stuff, including his own bounty hunters, which it's just so much power because he kind of has a little power struggle to get all those bounty hunters out and defeat them all. All his bounties just take so long. He does have a card which he pays ambition equal to the number of bounties in play, I'm pretty sure, and then completes a bounty of his choice, which I guess is cool. But that's only one thing. He still has to do 3 of them very time-consuming bounties. I don't know. He's just really difficult to win with, for sure. Him and Asajj Ventress, I say, are the hardest ones to understand, but he definitely takes the longest to win with. I figured before the Scum and Villainy set came out that Boba Fett was going to be pretty difficult to win with, just because of what they said his goal was with him having to defeat bounties, and I'm like, there's no way to get around the fact that he's going to have to do that like Asajj Ventress, huh? And, Asajj Ventress, already the most difficult villain in the core set to win with. I saw Boba Fett being more difficult right from the get-go, and Boba Fett's really difficult to win with. It's not like he's the most difficult to understand, he just takes so long. But yeah, this is a very long Villainous video. That's because I actually went way more in depth than I usually do. in this video, but that's because there's less villains. Like, if I did this whole breakdown thing I did for all, like, 28 or whatever Disney villains we have, this video would be, like, 3 hours long. But thank you, everybody, so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Villainous video. Bye-bye.